Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another CinemaFolks news collaboration type video. I need to put a title to this eventually, but um, I apologize for not doing a video these last 3 days. The last video I did was the Ma Rainey's Black Bottom movie review, which I hope you guys are enjoying. But yeah, there's been a couple of things that have been going on in the news lately that I just want to throw my 2 cents in. And I'll also be doing some other reviews very shortly. I hopefully tonight I'll be watching The Midnight Sky, directed by George Clooney. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll make sure to put up my review for it on Christmas Eve, so you guys get to see that. Um, but this will be published tomorrow, which will be the 23rd. Because there's a lot of things we have to talk about, a lot of interesting things that have been happening in the news lately, and I just want to throw my 2 cents to each of these topics. And before we move forth, if I seem a little off-putted in the video, not seem as energetic as usual, I won't get into it, but it's just been a weird period for me. I'll just put it that way. Just been adjusting to some stuff. So, but no worries, I'm doing fine. I'm just. If you notice, if I seem a little off-putted, or if if you read my vibe and if it seems kind of down, don't worry, I'm doing fine. It's just a little bit of an adjustment period for me, but we're going to persevere, and I'm going to talk about all these topics with you guys because that's what makes me happy, talking about movies. Um, so let's get into it. So we have not one but two trailers that got released, I believe today or yesterday, I'm not sure. And that is both from WB. No, one from Amazon Studios and then one from WB. We'll start with the WB project, and that is the Little Things. Had its first trailer. This is a crime thriller of some sorts. It stars an A-list cast in Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto. And it is directed and written by John Lee Hancock. And the trailer was released, and I have to say it looked interesting. I'm not completely sold on it just yet. I think they kind of gave away too much in the trailer for me. Personally, I didn't want to know about the dynamic between Jared Leto and Denzel Washington's characters. I didn't really want to know that really all that much, but then again, they have to entice you in the trailer somehow. So I mean, without that element, it is kind of a standard crime thriller. But nevertheless, though, I think that the cast itself is interesting, and I'm interested enough, to say the least, to see where how that story unfolds. Hopefully, it's 10 times better than John Lee Hancock's last film, which was The Highwaymen, I believe, which was pretty bad in my personal opinion. Just boring as shit. I just couldn't get through it all that much. But and so hopefully this is more gripping, and hopefully the cast comes to play. Hopefully they're not just hamming it up, or they're just kind of bored. Hopefully they all bring their A game. I was reading up some stuff about what Jared Leto did for the film, which was interesting. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested, to say the least. It has a release date for January 29th, 2021 on HBO Max and in theaters. Not really. So yeah, so this will be one of the tentpoles, one of the projects that will be a part of the HBO Max deal, which we'll be talking about later today, because there was a little bit of a news that broke about that particular plan. But yes, The Little Things looks interesting enough. I'll say that. I'm hesitant, but interested, to say the least. So, all right, and then the big trailer that came out today was, of course, Coming to America. No, not the original. The sequel, Coming to America, as they're saying in the title. They are, of course, Eddie Murphy is back. Arsenio Hall is back. James Earl Jones is back. Don't know if Samuel Jackson is back. I'm pretty sure he is. They're just not showing it in the trailer. I have to say I'm nervous. I'm nervous. I've never seen the original, so I cannot say how it did. I remember seeing the I would say well, not the I wouldn't say well-known scene, because I'm not familiar with Coming to America, but the well-known scene to me with Samuel Jackson's character when he appears in the film, that was something that I remember the most. I think, right? He was in the film, right? I'm pretty sure. Let me just fact check. because something in my head just said, he's probably not. He probably was not in that film. Let me just fact check. He was in the film, right? He was. Okay, cool. Yeah, because sorry, I actually thought for some reason I was like, did I confuse two movies? No, he was in the original movie, so most likely he's in this movie. We'll see. But it's Samuel Jackson. Why would you not have him in the movie? So, um, but I got a very Dumb and Dumber 2 vibe from the trailer, and that's not great. Um, in that it feels like it's revisiting old material and not trying to do anything new. Obviously, some of the jokes they're fine. The Hotel Rwanda one was funny, but it looks okay. It looks okay. It's being directed by Craig Brewer, who, if that name sounds familiar, he did Dolomite Is My Name last year, which was actually which was like 2019. It was many people's years, but you can also say it was Eddie Murphy's comeback. Because he came back for stand-up and in the film aspects with Dolomite Is My Name, which he was quite good in. So happy to see that he's directing the sequel. And it is coming out on March 5th, 2021 on Amazon Prime. So yeah, the streamers are all here. They're all here to play. And they have some interesting lineups. I mean, Amazon Prime with coming to America, interesting. HBO Max, obviously, we've talked about the plan and how I think it's ridiculous. Which leads to my next topic, which is that, which is pretty much the main stories that we're going to talk about today, where we'll get a lot more in detail, which is this. This broke today. It looks like, according to a couple of articles that I've read, Dune, which was the big source of controversy for the HBO Max deal, might still return to theatrical run only, according to a couple of sources, because of the Legendary Pictures lawsuit that's going on right now. For those who don't know, Legendary Pictures is currently in talks with Warner Brothers in trying to figure out how they're going to still acquire the financial support and the financial success from Dune when it's being primarily showcased on a streamer platform, and also because they were not informed, and because a bunch of other things that are much more of the reason why they're probably going for a lawsuit. So it looks like, though, that they might backtrack, particularly with Dune, because of one thing, and that is, of course, you don't want. I've said this for time and time again. Some people have thought I was being over dramatic about it. It is, the more you see it, the more it's coming true. And that is this: you do not piss off your distributors or your your partners. You don't do that. You just don't, because it spells consequences for multiple things. So this is not surprising to me that Warner Brothers is like, shit, we kind of needed to work with Legendary Pictures, because they also have Godzilla vs. Kong, which I would not be surprised if they are also talking about that particular film as well. Netflix was originally supposed to take it on, but Warner Media blocked the deal for some reason. So I'm not sure what was going on there. But again, we did actually. Let me rephrase it. I didn't know at the time why they blocked the deal, but now we know, because they wanted to bring Godzilla vs. Kong over to HBO Max. And now it's, as we now have seen for the last few weeks, it's not really been a all that much of a successful transition, to say the least, for a lot of these films. And it's not starting off well financially either. With Wonder Woman 1984, I mean, it just had its debut in a couple of areas, and the numbers aren't great. And like I said before, I don't think it's going to do well on streaming. I really don't think so. I don't think it's going to pull the numbers that people are thinking it's going to pull. And even the numbers that are being projected are not great numbers to begin with. So we'll see, though. It launches on Christmas Day, so 3 days from now. But I'm hesitant. I don't think it's going to do well. But in terms of Dune, there's been a lot of consequence with Dune going to streaming. For one, you have Denis Villeneuve, who's basically saying he's going to walk out of Warner Brothers at this point, with the statement coming out and everything. You have Legendary Pictures, who's also having to plan lawsuits against this company. Um, I said it time and time again. There is consequence to doing all this stuff. There's consequence when you are not being a proper collaborator and when you're not informing the people around you of your decision making. There's huge consequences all the time, and this is a big example of one of them. Which leads me to my next topic. As you see, I'm doing a lot of transitions today. Which is we're going to now revisit for a brief second, and then we'll return to the HBO Max situation that's been going on with Dune and other things that have been going on with it. We're going to talk about Tom Cruise for a second, because I talked about Tom Cruise and the audio leak that went out, and talked a little bit about how I felt about that particular rant that he did. And now it's been memed everywhere. I saw this video of where someone put Tom Cruise's rant with Christian Bale's rant and linked it to make it look like a conversation. It was hilarious. But it looks like now that some crew members have now quit the set on Mission Impossible 7. Apparently 5 crew members have quit. I don't know if this part is true or not, but I heard that these crew members were offered jobs in the porn industry. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Someone fact check me on that, but I heard that that was the case. But so that's kind of funny. And Tom Cruise also reportedly was taking an early break from the set, which again, I have said time and time again, the last thing that you want to do on a set or in studio is to create tensions. That's the last thing you want to do, because it results in situations like this. You either have people that are going to quit, you're going to have people who are going to go against you. It's not healthy behavior. And when Tom Cruise made the reaction that he did with his crew members, I said at the time that I think that was a very poor move to make, even though he was meaning well. Because everything that he said was perfectly fine. I had no problem with what he said. It was that how he approached to saying this stuff to those crew members was not right in the least. And the crew members have every right to leave. I mean, again, and there are more stories that came out of Mission Impossible 7 as well. This was not the first time that this happened. There's a lot of tensions that were happening on this set for a long, long time. There was a statement that was put out by the production crew by saying like, oh, Tom Cruise is a good guy, whatever, and he's obviously pretty intense. He's passionate about this and that. Basically, they're trying to, in a way, cover his ass because they're working for him, and they're working on a project together. So the last thing you want to do is be like, yeah, really, yeah, he's kind of a dick. But not saying that they think that way, but I'm just saying that I don't believe in PR bullshit like that. I don't. I believe in actual proof evidence, not people who are paid to say certain things, but because I believed that audio when it came out, or I was hesitant at first, but I was still thinking to myself, if that is true, I would not be surprised, and it did come out as true. And as I said, there are consequences to it, and I do believe that those production crew members do have a certain view of Tom Cruise. They're not just going to say it, obviously. Again, it's PR. They have to speak good of the man. Not trying to put Tom Cruise in a certain light. I love Tom Cruise. I think he's a fun actor, and I've enjoyed a lot of his work. Top Gun, Mission Impossible, Edge of Tomorrow, which I think a lot of people kind of put under the rug. I love Edge of Tomorrow. I think it's one of his better films in recent years. So I've enjoyed his work, and I love his passion for film. I've seen a bit of interviews with him. He's very, very passionate when it comes to film. He knows his film knowledge very, very well. So it's not like I'm dogging on him. I'm just dogging on him for this one particular instance, because this did create consequence for his set. Because now, regardless, people are all going on a break, or at least he's taking a break. I'm not sure how the situation is on set now. I'm not sure if everyone's packing up and going on for the holidays, or if that was all worked into the schedule for them to work throughout the holiday season. I'm not sure how it's all going down, but but yeah, this is the results for you acting out a certain way. And I think those crew members were totally justified in walking out. I think that they were totally justified because, especially now knowing that tensions were already high as it was before this rant even occurred on set. I think the last thing that you need to do is to amplify and raise those tensions even higher, and to create such a dense and really hard environment to work in. I mean, I completely understand why these crew members left. I completely understand. Um, and again, I understand where Tom Cruise came from as well. Whatever he said was not bad. How he said it was bad. And I don't want to hear that people are saying like, oh, we're just because a bunch of sensitive people. That's not the case, okay? That's just not how you operate a film set. Okay, that's just not how you operate a film set. You don't walk around being that way. You just don't. Okay, let me tell you this quick story, just so I can justify why I'm saying this, because I think that people are gonna still listen to this and be like, oh, you know, he's just being sensitive, whatever. No, I've had instances where, not to this degree or on a big budget film set, but I've had instances on my short films, which again, they're student films, they're no budget. You know, I'm not saying that I hold any weight, but I'm just saying I have stories that do relate to this instance, and I'll relay one of them to you right now. Um, which is this. One of the short films that I did, I think it was back in like 2017. It was like 3 years ago. Um, I had to work on some stuff in my house because typically I like to shoot in my house because it's convenient and everything. Now I hope to expand more and, you know, get out of my house, obviously. But there came a day where we had to use like guns, not actual guns, but you know, like airsoft guns, you know, whatever. And um, my crew, some of my actors went and they went and just played with the guns out in the neighborhood area. And I told them to not do that before because, you know, at that moment or at that time, the day before, there was actually a shooting that happened at my towards my neighborhood area, and it caused my neighborhood to be on high alert. Um, and so there was already you know, not great vibes on my neighborhood, and we were already coming in with guns. So it was like, you know, it was not a perfect time to say the least to shoot anything. But um, they decided to just keep popping those guns around the neighborhood. And what happened eventually was that I had a friend running into my house because we were setting up equipment for our shots. I believe it was I don't remember who it was, but I remember it was probably one of my cameramen, or no, one of my I'm trying to remember. I just don't want to say his name. I think it was one of the producers. Yeah, one of the producers. He had came up to me and he was like, "Dude, you need to go over down the street right now." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "There's this old man who has a gun drawn on both of your actors." And I was like, "You're shitting me, right?" And he's like, "No, I'm serious." So I just dropped everything. I ran down the street, and lo and behold, I turn around the corner, and yeah, this dude is literally pointing not a pistol, a full rifle, ready to just unload. And I had to calm him down. I had to explain to him what the situation was. And here's what I did afterwards, just to tell you. I didn't get pissed off. I didn't yell at my crew. I didn't call them names. I didn't tell them that they'd be fired. Well, they weren't even getting paid, but you know what I mean. They wouldn't, you know, I didn't say anything ill to them. I was serious to them, obviously. Like I told them, don't do that again, because we don't want those situations to happen. But I never shouted at them. I never said anything ill to them. I just politely and professionally told them, listen, we need to keep it here in the house, okay? Because this and this happened. Let's not do that again, okay? And they understood, and they just stayed around the house, and they just messed around. They didn't go around anywhere else. So, so yeah. So I mean, yelling does not solve anything. Yelling just creates a certain vibe on set, and Tom Cruise especially should have known that. again, my story holds no water really because it was a little student short film that I did like 3 years ago. But I do remember that incident happening, and when the story came out, that reminded me of that particular time like 3 years ago. Um, but yeah, I think that the way he handled it was completely immature, in my opinion. And I think that there's many other ways to handle that situation. Um, and well, not immature, unprofessional. That's what I meant. Um, but uh, yeah, these crew members that left, they were. I completely understand why. And Tom Cruise getting like leaving for the holiday early, that's great. Just go cool down for a little bit. Go hang out with your family or something for the holidays, and come back and be more professional on set. I get it. It's COVID. I get it, but that doesn't justify your actions. It doesn't justify you being that way. So so that was a little bit longer than expected to talk about that, but now let's get back to the HBO Max situation because there were actually other things that happened within the WB HBO Max drama that's been going on. So yeah, we just talked about Dune, the Dune possibly coming back for just an exclusive theatrical run. There were also some other things that were dropped on with the HBO Max plan that I want to address here, which is this. According to some sources that I read, the HBO Max plan will cost WB $1.2 billion in box office revenue. Why? Because of the nature of streaming. You're bound to lose money, okay? That's what that spells, okay? That is what that means. It even gets better because I'm going to address the second story of today, which goes hand in hand with this, because you probably think, oh, well, hey, they should still be able to get some support from the theatrical runs or anything else to keep them afloat if they're going to be dropping this much money onto this type of plan. Well, theaters are actually taking their own approach at stabbing Warner Brothers by lowering their ticket prices. According to a Variety insider, apparently theaters are looking to lower ticket prices against WB. And here's the quote. This is from Aaron Couch. He said on Twitter, insiders say some theaters are considering slashing Warner's tickets prices so low that the studio would get almost nothing back. So you have a studio that is going to be dropping around $1 billion in box office revenue towards this type of plan. And then you have your theaters who are now saying that we're probably going to be lowering our ticket prices exclusively for WB so that they don't get any returns on it. Can we, like WB, can we get a proper statement at this point? I'm just saying, can we get a proper statement? Is there anything else that you need at this point to make you guys go, you know what? We should probably address this. I mean, let's just go through everything that's been going on these past few weeks. I mean, Denis Villeneuve coming out and attacking you guys. Christopher Nolan coming out of here and attacking you guys. Legendary Pictures coming out here and taking a lawsuit. Many actors not getting fair compensation. Theaters that are now against you. Theaters are now lowering ticket prices, costing $1.2 billion in box office revenue. Is there anything else that has to occur? Oh, and and also to just a tiny little thing. The DGA, Directors Guild of America, is looking to possibly boycott you guys. Is there anything else, anything else in general that needs to occur for you guys to finally go, you know what? We should probably respond to this. We should probably put out a statement about this. An actual thorough statement. Not some PR whatever, like an actual thorough statement about everything that's been going on lately and where your headspace is at. Okay, because clearly this plan is not working. Okay, it's clear. This plan is not working. I've said it before and I'll say it again. When this plan was released, I knew everything around it was going to crumble. I knew that the collaborations that it had were going to crumble, and they are currently crumbling. I knew that it was going to piss off a lot of theater owners, which it did. I knew it was going to piss off a lot of companies that were working underneath them or in collaboration with them on particular projects, which it did. So is there anything else, WB, that has to happen? Does the DGA officially have to boycott you guys? Do they need to do that for you guys to finally get your heads out of your ass and just start realizing that, you know what, this is a lot more consequential than we actually thought it was going to be? Can we finally get that statement? Because I'm sorry, but it's all around, this is not looking like it's going to work. Okay? Look at the projections for Wonder Woman 1984. They are not as promising as they could have been. If we lived in a pre-COVID era and Wonder Woman was still being released, COVID didn't exist, it would be a massive hit. I'm telling you, this Wonder Woman 1984 was clearly going to be the highest grossing movie of 2020. I almost guarantee it. It was going to be that movie, the movie that was going to be the highest grossing film of the year. But now under this type of platform, under a hybrid release, which is clearly favorited towards streaming, it's apparent that it's not going to make money. And China did not even come to play for the film. Okay, let me just bring it up to you. What the numbers were. I'm pretty sure it was like 38 million that they pulled from China, at least for the first few days that it hit theaters. Let me bring it up here just so we can. Oh, and even better. Just from reading on MovieWeb, not sure how reliable they are. They're only opening in 40% of U.S. movie theaters this Christmas weekend, so it's going to be heavily reliant on the streaming platform for Wonder Woman 1984. But I want to see how much it made so far box office wise. I'm pretty sure in China it did not perform super well. Here we go. China box office. This is the Hollywood Reporter. I'm going to bring this. Yeah, this is the Hollywood Reporter. So I'll read it out for you. So China's box office was the scene of disappointment over the weekend as Warner Bros. 1984 got trounced, can't pronounce that word, sorry, by a local action flick called The Rescue. The Rescue opened to $36.3 million, nearly double Wonder Woman 1984's $18.8 million start. Both films finished the weekend far below expectations, though, as audience disappointment in the movies and a sudden cold snap across much of China weighed in on the country's theatrical market recovery. A few small-scale clusters of COVID-19 also have kept consumers in several cities indoors in recent days. It was abundantly clear, however, that filmgoers mostly just weren't particularly enthused about either of the new releases. So yeah, it is clear that China is not interested in Wonder Woman 1984, it just proves it with 18.8 million. And that is coming from just from a theatrical run in China. Now we're seeing a 40% theatrical run here in the US, and then we're going to go to streaming. $14.99 also to pay to watch the film. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. I really, really don't think this is going to work. Quality-wise, I mean, we'll see how Wonder Woman 1984 does, but I've heard some good things, but I really think that it's time, WB. It really, really is time. It's really time to put out a statement. I've received 2 letters from Congress already, and Congress, mind you, also put out a bill recently that finally is going to be able to help some theaters stay afloat for the next few months. So thank you so much, Congress, for doing that. And again, thank you to Mike Levin and Dianne Feinstein for reaching out to me, or getting back to me. That was very, very generous of you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm very happy to see that Congress is responding to this and is helping out the movie theaters in some capacity, and in ways that does not destroy other much more crucial manners like hospitals and stuff. Like they're actually balancing out, which I addressed in a video we had last time. So I'm happy that that's happening and that they're doing what they can. But this needs a response from WB. We need a response from WB, like a thorough response. So I hope that we get that soon. Hopefully, maybe by the start of 2021, we might get a response. But yeah, all of this spells trouble. All of this spells trouble. And I said that all this was going to happen when this deal was made. So, but yeah. I mean, we'll see how Wonder Woman does, but as I predicted, so far, not looking like it's going to do well, but we'll see. But anyway, speaking of DC, we know when the Snyder Cut is supposedly going to be released, which is March of 2021. So that's when we know that Snyder Cut is going to be released. Zack Snyder confirmed it himself. It's going to be released on March 2021 on HBO Max, of course. So that's cool. Glad to know that we're now getting it in March. Very surprising by that, actually. I thought it would come out a little bit later. But no, they are going to push it very early, and which is great. It gets more people in on the service, hopefully. And I'm probably will cover for the whole month since they are doing an episodic series. So I'm not sure how many episodes, probably like 4 episodes. So yeah, they'll be able to keep it up. Probably like each 2 weeks, they'll probably get a new episode, or each week, not sure. But nice to know it's coming out in March 2021. Curious to see how it'll do. I mean, I'm not really looking forward to the Snyder Cut just because, I don't know, just from what I've known, what is in the cut, it doesn't really get me excited. But we'll see how it does. But fairly interesting to say the least, and obviously is extremely exciting for DC fans and for people who are clamoring for the Snyder Cut. So this will do good business, though. This will definitely do fairly good business. Let me backtrack a little bit because while there are many people who are excited to see the Snyder Cut, it's not a huge amount of people. Okay, yes, the movement was fairly known in the film world, but in terms of general audiences, they have no idea that this thing's even coming out. So while I think that this will do fair, I don't think it's going to do great until more people are aware of it, and also how they market it, obviously. But obviously for fans, they're gonna show up for it. But for general audiences, I'm curious to know how this is gonna perform and how this is gonna translate. So all right, now let's end it off with our last topic for today. Now this is pretty much a rumor right now. I don't know how legitimate it is because no reputable sources, at least to my knowledge, have confirmed the story. I'm just going to check right now, just so I could just confirm for my own suspicions if anybody has confirmed this particular story. Let me see right now. Okay, Entertainment Weekly talked about it. Okay, so it is. Okay, so it is now official. Cool. Okay, all right. Now we can actually not say this is rumor because Deadline's now reporting on it. Hollywood Reporter's reporting on it. So, according to the Observer, I'm not sure how legitimate they are. Apparently, they hold some legitimacy if the Hollywood Reporter and Deadline, these other sources, are talking about it. Looks like we might be getting a sequel / reboot to The Exorcist. Now, of course, if you've not seen The Exorcist, why the hell have you not? The Exorcist is, of course, directed by Willem Friedkin, and I believe it is the scariest film ever made. I really do believe so. I think that it's the scariest film ever made. I also think that it's, I don't know if it's Willem Friedkin's best work. I might give it to The French Connection still, but The Exorcist scared the absolute shit out of me. I think that it's scary in all the right ways, and I think that its atmosphere is extremely haunting. But above all else, it's not just a scary movie. It holds something. While it does have a sinister heart, it also has this very interesting story of redemption, and this story about somebody trying to rediscover themselves in many ways. So, and I think William Friedkin did that so wonderfully in the film. Um, but speaking of William Friedkin, he actually shut down these rumors recently. He said that no, this is not happening. So I don't know what the big deal is, why everyone's talking about this. So kind of funny he did that. Maybe he was just trying to throw it off, and surprise, surprise, when the news came out. But it looks like they are moving forward, or at least are talking about doing a sequel to The Exorcist of some sorts. Now, if you're all probably thinking, like, is it going to be like a Halloween type situation where they just are doing a direct sequel to The Exorcist? Well, it might be, because the guy who did Halloween 2018, he's reportedly in talks to direct The Exorcist sequel. David Gordon Green, who of course did Halloween 2018 and is doing Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, and did some other films like Stronger, Pineapple Express. He is currently in talks to direct this sequel. So, now, The Exorcist, while I think, again, it is the scariest film ever made. I stand by it. I think The Exorcist is the scariest film ever made. I think it's also one of the best films ever made. But The Exorcist has had a huge following. I mean, obviously it's made, I believe, yeah, they did, of course, a trilogy of some sorts. They did three, Exorcist 2 and 3, and then they did two other films in the early 2000s, and then they did a series of some sorts, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think they did like a film series, or not film series. What we're talking about, like a television series. Because yeah, they did a film series for quite a bit, but it kind of fell apart after the first one. But yeah, I have not seen the other Exorcist films, so I cannot speak on how those films did. So I am curious to see, though, what is making them do an Exorcist sequel. I am curious to know this, because even though The Exorcist is well known, it's not a demand in terms of audience perception. Not a lot of people are asking for an Exorcist sequel. So I'm not sure what's the motivation for them to do an Exorcist sequel. Again, yes, it is a cult. It has a cult following, and that it is known as the scariest film ever made, and I do believe it is the scariest film ever made. I just don't know what is the justification to throw another crack at an Exorcist film, because in terms of box office wise, I'm going to look it up again just to see how the numbers were for The Exorcist. Because the original Exorcist, I believe, did fairly well, if I'm not mistaken. It did incredibly well. It had a budget of $12 million, which is great. I love that it was very, very small budgeted, and made like $400 million. So yeah, it was a huge success the first film around. Now, when you get to the other films, though, we get to Exorcist 2, the Heretic. We get to that particular film, and that film had 14 million, around the same budget as the first Exorcist, but only made 30 million, so a huge drop from the first Exorcist film. And then you get to The Exorcist 3, which had $11 million, so a little bit smaller budget, and only made $39 million. So then we get to The Exorcist, the beginning, which was $50 million, so the budget went way up, and it made $76 million, so not a great success there. Actually, I think it's considered a bomb in many cases. And then the last Exorcist film that was ever made was called Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist, which that's a dumb name. 30 budget of 30. So I've never seen these numbers before, so that's why I'm reacting. Budget of $30 million and only made $200,000. And that was directed by Paul Schrader, the guy who would eventually go on to direct, what was the film? First Reformed, and of course wrote a lot of Martin Scorsese films like Taxi Driver, Raging Bull. So yeah, it's The Exorcist. While yeah, has The Exorcist, the first film, obviously has retained its cult following and has retained its cultural significance. It is, beyond that first film, has not been a point of interest for a lot of audiences over the years. So I'm not sure what the motivation is to do a sequel to The Exorcist. Maybe they believe that there's still some interest, but I question the idea of doing a sequel to The Exorcist. Not in terms of narrative purpose, because it could work, who knows, but just financially, why are we doing it, you know? But I'm curious. I'm curious to see how if they actually move forth with it, and what they bring to it. Because again, I love The Exorcist. The Exorcist, again, one of my favorite films of all time. One of the scariest, the scariest film I've ever seen. I'm curious to know if Willem Friedkin will be involved in some capacity, either as a producer, or maybe as a writer. I'm not sure. He never wrote the original Exorcist. I believe the original Exorcist was written by a comedian, like a comedic writer. I'm trying to remember. He was a publicly well-known comedian at the time. Let me remember his name just for history's sake. It was William Peter Blatty, who was much more well-known as a comedy writer at the time, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he did a few dramas there and there, but I think he was mostly well-known as a comedy writer. He did like the Man from the Diners Club. He did The Great Bank Robbery. So he was known for a lot of those comedic type films. I don't know if these were silent films. Well, it was the 60s, so I mean they had sound. So yeah, he was known for the exaggerated comedic effects. So it was very, very much of a turn to see him do The Exorcist. So I'm curious to know if Willem Friedkin will be involved in some capacity in the writing department, the producing department, like John Carpenter was in the new Halloween film that they did. So very, very curious to see how this turns out, and if they will fall suit with moving forward with doing it. I just question the financial reasons behind it, because as I just laid out, the Exorcist franchise, besides the first one, has been a bomb. It's been a bomb. So I'm not sure what the motivation is, financially speaking, but maybe they see something there. Who knows? But I just don't think the audience clearly, especially that last Exorcist film, clearly the audience is done with The Exorcist. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong. I question it a lot, but we'll see it. We'll see if it gets greenlit and if they move forward with it. So, but that's pretty much it for today. A lot of topics for today. Huge news regards to the theater thing. That thing is the big story of the week, in my opinion. Is theaters possibly lowering their ticket prices against WB? I think that's pretty big. And of course, Dune, maybe coming back theatrically, that's also quite a big story. But other than that, kind of a tame week. I mean, the Exorcist thing kind of threw me off guard a little bit, but other than that, the huge story of the day, or the huge story of the week, I would say, was the theaters possibly lowering their tickets prices against WB. I think that was quite big. But anyways, let me know your thoughts on all these stories, and your thoughts on those trailers, and if you think that doing an Exorcist sequel was justified. You guys let me know all your thoughts about it, and that's pretty much it for this video. This is a long video, so I hope you guys stuck around to the end. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. I'll publish this video on the 23rd, and of course on Christmas Eve you'll see my Midnight Sky review. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. And I will of course be reviewing Wonder Woman 1984 and Soul as well. So look out for those reviews when they come out. Yeah, so just wanted to publish this video, talk about some couple things, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and let me know your guys' thoughts on all these topics, and I will catch you guys next time. Be safe, be protected, and have a happy holidays. I'll catch you guys around. Bye.